Hello, hello. Welcome to Stash Chats. We are here tonight for another live chat with another amazing member of the sewing community. So if you are watching live, please do jump into the chat, say hi and let us know where you're joining from. I can see that Mel has already joined. So welcome, Mel. Hope you enjoy our chat this evening. So I missed you guys last week because I didn't do an episode of Stash Chats last week because I was busy with my friend's wedding. So if you have a look on my Instagram, you'll see a picture of me at the wedding. I made some tops for all the bridesmaids to wear. So that was really... I'm sorry, I'm just gotten distracted by the chat already. But yeah, that was really fun last week, the wedding. So yeah, I'm glad to be back with another episode for you guys. Thanks for joining in the chat already. We've already got a question from Mel, so we'll get Lena on first before we start asking questions. And hello, Linda from Bury St Edmunds. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And if you're watching on repeat as well, still pop into the comments and yeah, say... I don't know, we haven't said anything yet, but join in the chat. Hello, Natalie, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we're on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday this week, but that is because we are talking to the amazing Lena King. So probably a lot of you guys will know Lena King through the Ankara Appreciation Week challenge. So we're definitely going to be talking about African wax fabrics with Lena. We've already got a question about that from Mel, so we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, I'm also really excited to hear about Lena's sewing journey, how she got into sewing, and of course her stash, because we all like to have a little nosy into people's stash. So let's get Lena on, shall we? Hello.
Hi there.
Welcome to Stash Chats.
Thank you. Looking forward to this. Thanks for having me.
So do you want to kick us off by just introducing yourself? So, your Instagram handle, what you like to sew right now, and what your sort of overall vibe is.
Okay, yeah. So it's all in the title. It's that Lena King is my handle. And yeah, like Yvette says, you probably know me more from Ankara Appreciation Week. And I also just love to sew with bright fabric, mostly print fabric. And I just love being part of that Instagram sewing community, especially because I just love that buzz and excitement and the ideas that just float around. So yeah, that's me. I sew from North London, and yeah, that's what did you want me to say about do you want me to talk about specifically, or is that enough intro?
I'll ask you another question. We can
Sure.
talk like on this chat. So yeah, feel free to go anywhere. But so do you want to tell us about how you first got into sewing? Like, when did you first think it could be interesting, and when did you think this is going to be my whole personality now? I love sewing and it's everything.
Yeah, it's really funny actually, because I think, like so many people, I grew up in a home where there was a sewing machine. My mum sewed, and she was trained as a seamstress back in Ghana. And when we came to this country, she did a bit of sewing for a company, but she just felt that wasn't for her working here. It was all very fast paced, and that's not how she liked to sew, like me. I don't like to sew like that. So I was just used to there being a sewing machine at home, and my mum making clothes for myself and my sister and for herself. And I just kind of thought that's what everybody's mum did. That's what you did. But no, and a lot of my aunties had sewing machines as well, so that just sort of fed that idea. But I enjoyed watching my mum sew, and I was just amazed by what she did with these bits of fabric. And she would sort of design her own patterns. So she never worked from a sewing pattern. She just used newspaper and cut out the shapes to fit us. And yeah, so I just watched her and loved it. And then I think my mum saw that I was quite interested. And then back in the day when it was home economics at school, we'd be there in the sewing room with all the machines out. And I just, again, really loved that, even though we sewed some really odd things then. I really just wanted to get into sewing more and more. So I think I was 15 and my mum gave me her old machine. She had a big industrial machine and then a tabletop machine, which she gave to me. And I just started sewing from then. But it was all very experimental for years, really, I think. And probably in my 20s, I started picking it up again and sewing a few bits. I was doing sort of bags and cushions to begin with, and then a couple of skirts for myself, and then something for my daughter. But really, it's been sort of about 2017 is where I think that sewing has almost become my identity. But I've really thrown myself into it. And I think that coincided with me joining Instagram actually and just being like, wow, there are other people out there who love to sew and have all these great ideas. And yeah, getting to know different pattern companies and everything and fabric shops and stuff. So that's just really fed my interest in making my own clothes from then.
So when you were like a teenager, did your mum teach you how to sew? Or she just
She
give you
can't, or she just, no, my mum, it's really funny because my mum, she's not very patient. She's not a patient teacher, but then I think I wasn't a very patient student. So a lot of it was me watching, and then I'd ask her a question, or why'd you do that? And she'll just quickly tell me something. And in the end, she was just like, oh, have the sewing machine. And I think she actually did buy me one of those sort of something like Women's Weekly or something like that. And they used to come with a free sewing pattern. So she got me that and she said, oh, you'll be used to patterns. I think that's what they do in your school. So yeah, that's how I started. But she didn't really sit down and show me. And she was terrified of me using her big machine. She just, that's far too dangerous. So she just sort of gave me the tools and sort of set me off.
So how did you discover the Instagram sewing community?
Yeah, that was a bit weird. Because I remember back in 2017, I said to my eldest daughter, I think I'm going to go on Instagram. I hope that's not going to cramp your style. I said to her, I'll keep out of your way, you know. And she was laughing and said, oh, Mum, you won't know what to do on Instagram. I'm like, okay, you know. So I joined Instagram and then just, I can't remember whether I started off just looking, I don't know, searching for sewing people or things like that. But anyway, that's just really exploded from having just a few people that I would follow and think, wow, they're amazing. I think Tilly and the Buttons were probably one of the first companies that I began following and then picked up their patterns from there. And it just, I think the community just really grew and grew and grew. And a lot of it was just seeing stuff that people were making like it's their every day. Because I would, before that, I'd make things very occasionally. I'd be, go to a wedding, I'd make an outfit, make something for my daughters. But to see that people were making clothes for themselves that they were wearing every day, I was not at that stage then, not at all. So it was great to see it.
It gave you like a lot of confidence to, try new things.
It really did. It really did. I was just, I'm going to try. I think before I hadn't been as aware of a lot of the indie companies. I was used to the big four and I wasn't getting on that well with them and I didn't find them that easy to find as well. So just seeing that there were way more companies than just Simplicity and McCall's and Vogue, there was so much more out there and that I hadn't even heard about. But yeah, just seeing that just gave me that confidence, not only just to sew, but to wear my clothes as well. Because I think when I was younger, I would make things and I'd feel too self-conscious to wear the things that I made, which was a bit weird. But yeah, the community helped.
I guess as well, you're like, oh, if I wear this and someone notices that I've made it myself, that's like, clothes somehow.
Yeah, it's a bit funny, isn't it? Because I think making your own clothes kind of sounded a bit weird a while ago. But yeah, surely with the things like sewing bee and everything, that becomes just make that idea of making your own clothes so much more popular and not sort of weird. And from the background I come from, in the churches that I grew up in, there were several people who made their own clothes for different reasons. A lot of it was for modesty reasons. And it was just a little bit weird. The clothes were a little bit not as fashionable or whatever. So you just got that image of, oh, they make their own clothes. But just seeing the wealth of styles and patterns out there just made me think, yeah, I can give this a go and feel really confident wearing my clothes.
So would you say that your style has changed since really getting into sewing?
Yes, definitely got more adventurous as the years go by, and especially trying new companies. and different styles. I think when I was shopping for my clothes mostly and struggling to find things that fit me really as I would like, I would say, for example, oh, I can't wear those. I can't wear that style. I can't wear that. And then I realized it wasn't that I couldn't wear them. It's just that they weren't made right for me. So I began, because I sew my own clothes and I can make a different size top to the skirt. That was a great thing for dresses. And also for jumpsuits. You would have never, ever seen me in a jumpsuit a few years ago because nothing in the shops fit right. So I've been loving making and wearing jumpsuits, for example. So that's a change. Yeah, and the style just evolves, doesn't it? I think when I first started sewing, I did a lot of the Cocoa dress by Tilly and the Buttons. That was a nice, straightforward, easy bit, vintage vibe. I loved that, and that was my go-to. But now I've changed, and I'm wearing more full dresses like this one. This Penelope dress, I like that style as well. So I'm a little bit eclectic anyway in my style. So I do like to try different things.
Have a whole wardrobe to suit what mood you're in as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, I love to wear sort of quite fitted things and very sort of vintage style things, but I also love to wear shirts. I like to wear dresses of all sorts. But yeah, I do think it's nice to have that variety. Like you say, suit the mood you're in.
Yeah, I definitely need to try the Penelope dress myself. I feel like at this stage I'm the only person in the community that hasn't made it yet.
It's a great pattern, and yeah, today I was just put on Instagram my top 10 patterns. I realised I've made this one twice, and it's just the one that I just love to pick up a lot, and it's just so easy to wear, and I like that. So I think I've got more in my mind, but I always then get sidetracked by other patterns. A new pattern comes up, and I think, oh, that looks nice. I'm going to try that. But yeah, having a good staple pattern like this is good. Try it. You like big sleeves, I can see from your blouse. Is it blouse or dress?
It's a sagebrush, but I did some
yes,
pin tucks instead of the cuff.
Oh, great. Very good.
Right, we got the chats popping off now. So Chris from Unsocial says hi.
Hello.
And Mel's not even heard of the Penelope dress. Can you give us a show?
Yeah, I can. So the sleeve, can I see the sleeve? The sleeve really makes this dress. Look at that. And then it's just got a nice full skirt, which you could add a bottom tier to, but I haven't done that. I'm not hugely maxi. I'm more of a midi length person. So yeah, but it's just nice, sort of nice, fairly empire lion waist and then a gathered skirt. Nice and easy, but serious statement sleeves.
Nice cotton to hold the volume as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So Linda says, what percentage of your wardrobe is me made?
Okay, that's a hard one. Well, I don't know percentage wise, but perhaps almost all my dresses, and I'm wearing a lot more dresses now, nearly all my dresses are me made. Yeah, I would say half my blouses, maybe my blouses and shirts. What I don't make a lot of is sort of lounge wear. So my joggers, I think I did make one pair of joggers, but yeah, my favorite joggers are shop bought. I don't know why, I've just not got round to doing stuff like that. And t-shirts and all of that, all the base layers I tend to buy. But I have been asking around the community for places that do sell good t-shirt fabrics. I just don't always find the right jersey for it. I wouldn't mind making my own bodies and t-shirts. So I would say, I mean, I'm wearing my own clothes pretty much every day, even if it's a skirt and a me-made skirt and a shop-bought top. But generally, yeah. And that's only just, like I said, from 2017. I remember joining in with that me-made May back then, and just sort of maybe managing a week of me-mades to now, yeah, easily wearing me-mades every day. So yeah, I'm not quite sure the percentage about a lot of them. Yeah.
I usually only manage about a week of me-made May, but that's just because I'm lazy and I can't be bothered to do it every day.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, isn't it? Sometimes you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed Last Me Made May, and yeah, I think I posted almost every day, which I hadn't set myself out to do, but I just got into it.
That's impressive. Yeah, Linda says dresses are far more exciting to make than like basic stuff.
Yeah, I think that's it. And yeah, sometimes I think, oh, you should try making your own, but then I think, oh, I'll just go to H&M and buy my joggers, buy a t-shirt. Yeah.
Do you find in general you prefer sewing wovens to jerseys?
Yeah, again, that's a change, because I think, again, funnily enough, when I started, I quite enjoyed working with jersey, which a lot of people don't like working with knit fabric. But I tended to choose more stable things like Ponte, is it called Ponte? Or anyway, that more Ponte de Roma, I think, or using sweatshirt fabrics, and they were stable enough, not so. Although one of my early dresses I did make out of a viscose jersey, and it was awful. It was a wrap dress, and I just didn't know about stabilizing, and it was horrible. But yeah, now I'm definitely more woven, definitely.
Shall we talk a little bit about the Ankara Appreciation Week challenge? How did you
Yeah.
set that up?
Yeah, I love it. And I'm just yeah, just excited each year to see that so many people love it. So Juliet and I started that back in 2020, actually. I've been following Juliet since I joined Instagram, and just before she was on the sewing bee and everything. And we often chatted together, because she also would sew with Ankara fabric. So I had her in my sights, and I was thinking it would be really good if we could have a challenge that focused on African wax print. I think that would be something really good, because we were seeing a few people using, I think there was a lady called, was it Chinello, who was on Sewing Bee sometime before Juliet, and she'd, use that fabric. I thought it would be nice to sort of see more people using that. And yeah, 2020, and it was a bit of a tough time in the city, both in the city and in America, after sort of George Floyd and things like that. There was a real kind of, gloominess. And Juliet and I thought it'd be really good to do something that lifted people. And that was something that a lot of maybe Black sewists who were more familiar with Ankara would get behind as well. So yeah, Juliet was all on board with that, and she said she'd been thinking about that idea as well. So it was great. So 2020 was our first one, and it really did seem to just hit the spot. People just loved it. And I do remember, I think I had about 1,000 followers when I started it, and by the end of the week that I had 3,000 or something. People were just, and it was because people were just wanting to join that challenge and just celebrate, and it was amazing. I was like, Juliet, this is overwhelming. We're just getting all these messages and people making things and tagging us, and I'd never done a challenge, and it was just really hard to manage, but it was great. So that was back in 2020, and it hit off really well. And then since then, we've just sort of tested the waters. Do we do it again? And people are like, yes, yes, yes. So this is our fourth one that we just did. And what's nice about the challenge, it isn't you don't have to make something new. Of course, lots of people do, but it's more a case of what's in your wardrobe, take it out and use it. Or do you have some African wax print in your stash? Be inspired by what others are making, and now you have a go. So it's just that encouraging and celebrating. You don't have to make anything new, but a lot of people use it as an opportunity to make something different. And yeah, I tend to make very sort of simple, straightforward things. So it's amazing seeing some people really go to town, especially on the last day when we have sort of the big and bold. Some people really do fancy things, and it's amazing to see. So yeah, I'm really thrilled just how well it's taken off in the community. Really thankful.
Yeah, I can see why people end up making new things, because they get so inspired.
It really is. And every time we have somebody or just like, oh, I've just got some fabric, this is it, I'm going to make something this year. And it's nice when you then see those people the following year say, I made this because last year on Ankara. So yeah, it's got a momentum, and it's and there's some real loyal people who are there there year after year following the whole week. So really appreciate people appreciating Ankara week.
Amazing. Right, we've got a couple of questions specifically about Ankara. So Natalie says, what patterns can you recommend for using with Ankara fabric?
Okay, a couple of my favorite ones if you're doing simple patterns. This is one, the Penelope, because it just shows off the print nicely. But I also really like the Stevie dress. That was one of my early ones, Tilly and the Buttons, because again, anything that's got quite not too many lines is really nice, because then you just get to show off the real print without breaking it up too much. I think that's really good. Things with structure, things like with big sleeves or puff, shoulder heads. The wax print is not stiff, but it does sort of hold the shape really well. I do like making shirt dresses. One of my other favourites is the Sarasti shirt dress, which, although that has got panels, it's not too much, and it depends whether you use a very tiny print Ankara fabric. I think shirts are great. This fabric makes really lovely collars and really nice and crisp. So this year I made the Donny shirt, Friday Pattern Company. And I was just like, wow, I was just admiring the collar for ages, thinking that's so nice. It really
So
stands
crisp.
well. It really is. I was just like, oh, look at me, this is great. So yeah, that's a good pattern to use, definitely. But I do like sort of experimenting sometimes with patterns that are perhaps more designed for floaty fabrics, using the Ankara and just getting a whole new silhouette with it. I do like that. It just, stands out very nicely. So trousers are good. I think both this year we did sort of pairing one fabric two ways, and Juliet made some lovely wide leg trousers. I'm not sure what pattern she used, but some really lovely trousers. I've done the saguaro trousers, and then some other trousers from Dovetailed. And Josie, who was pairing up with me, also made did she do? Was it the Flint trousers? Maybe Megan Nielsen Flint. So yeah, nice trousers, wide leg trousers or culottes. That'll be really nice in this fabric.
Awesome, that's loads of suggestions. How much wax print do you need to sew up, Natalie? Not too many ideas now. And then Mel says, does African wax need to be stored in a certain way?
No, it doesn't. And I mean, I wouldn't. Got to be careful here, because I'm a real believer that the fabric ages really, really well and it doesn't fade. But I'm supposing that with all fabric, you'd want to sort of keep it out of direct sunlight, I would say, because but generally speaking, I've got fabric that belonged to my mum, which she's given to me, and it's still going strong. I've got a load of her old dresses that are the traditional, I say dress, it's like a top and a skirt, and she gave lots of those to me. I don't really wear them, but the fabric is really good, and my plan is to unpick some of them and remake for myself. So yeah, most of my Ankara fabric, I've got a piece here actually, because you buy them usually in sort of 6 yards of fabric. I don't store them where I store my other fabric. I tend to store these in plastic tubs under my bed, if they get as far as that, and not used straight away, but they tend to be stored because they come in a roll, and I tend to buy 6 yards or occasionally 12 yards, so they're a bit too bulky to store in my cupboards here.
So are they the same width as normal fabric?
No, they are a bit narrow. Is it 112? A bit wider than that, I think. Yeah, they're not the 140. A bit more narrow. I can't remember offhand. I should have written that down, but they are slightly narrower. But it compensates often because you tend to. I still prefer buying them in these 6 yards rolls. Some shops now will sell them by the yard, but I think you often can get a good 6 yards for 25, 30, 35 pounds. I think that's quite good value. So especially if I want to make a more full dress, that's where I tend to go.
Yeah, amazing. Natalie says, do you have a favourite Ankara fabric in your collection?
I did have, this was a favourite for a while, and I just used that. I do love the bird print. Now, you might have seen me working on, oh, I think I've got some behind me, the dress, which I didn't finish. This print, I've got it the right way, Speedbird, comes in so many colorways, and I've got a couple of these. So that's one of my favorite prints. It's very, very common. Yeah, I just really love that Speedbird print, and I'm still on the lookout for a red version of that. I really love that. But I don't have, at the moment, I don't have a favorite in the sesh. This one I do love, and I'm trying to keep it. I want to find the right thing for it. It's really loud, really busy. So I need to think about that. I've got another piece here, which is a bit more which is a bit different. It's not so vibrant. It's got these tiny, tiny squares. And a Nigerian friend that I follow on Instagram told me that in her culture in Nigeria, this is the Ankara they use for like the wedding party. She says this print is specific for her people. And I thought, oh, I didn't know that, but that makes me want to make something special out of this. So yeah, I'm keeping that until something special inspires me to sew with that one. Yeah, just to pick up on that theme. Yeah,
that's really cool. Mel's got a Speedbird print in orange and blue. Just needs to
that
decide
sounds
which
great.
pattern to use.
Yeah, it's a really lovely. Yeah, I'd like to just see what you make with it. It's a great print, that one.
And Mel says, could you explain what Ankara means and where it comes from?
Okay, so the actual word Ankara, it's interesting. I think that was more, Juliet would say that Nigerians tend to use Ankara, that word. I don't know why, whatever, but I'm from Ghana, and literally growing up, I just heard of it as cloth. It was just cloth. And even the Ghanaian word for it just translates as cloth. And in parts of East Africa, it is called Kitenji, I'm not sure. So it's got different names for it. So I don't think the actual word Ankara, I'm not even sure exactly how that came from. It doesn't have its meaning. But yeah, different African countries call it by different names. But generally, it's known as Dutch wax print or African wax print. Dutch because that's the country which sort of manufactures them most.
So yeah, historically it was sort of manufactured by the Dutch.
Yeah,
used as in Indonesia, and then they brought it to Africa. It became really popular.
So tradition. I think in Indonesia, where the process, so the wax print process, first sort of started, and then that sort of got picked up by Dutch explorers or whatever, and they tried to bring that fabric to sell in Europe, but it didn't take off. But it did take off in African countries. So that connection has been there for years. But I find that, again, that's just interesting that it's come from Asia to Europe to Africa and all over. So it's pretty much got an international flair.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I think Europe probably just wasn't ready for being bright and bold then.
No, they did it. And also with this wax print, sometimes it's especially the original where you would actually use, I'm not sure how they do exactly now, but you'd use the wax process, would leave imperfections, and people didn't like that. Whereas I sometimes think actually that adds to it when everything's not just perfect, it just adds to the uniqueness of the fabric, I think.
Makes it feel extra handmade.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
Right, shall we move on to talk a little bit about your stash? How would you describe your sewing stash?
Well, I go through stages, but yeah, at the moment, it's just not quite overflowing, but I've got enough. So I've got these amazing IKEA storage units. It's actually a range that they don't do anymore. But there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, these cubes. There's 4 covered ones with doors on. and that's where I store my fabric. The bigger sizes, usable ones, and I tend to, if I'm being good when I get them, I would try to remember to wash them, and if I've got a project in mind, and sort of roll them up and attach a label as to what I'm going to do with it. And in the cupboards, they're stored by weight. So I've got sort of the lighter fabrics, and then I've got my denims and my just a couple of wools. I think the actual usable fabric stash is controllable, but what my real problem is with offcuts. I hate to throw things away, and I don't know whether that's still the teacher in me. I used to be a primary school teacher, so I'd always keep things that could be useful. I could do something with that. So yeah, the scraps seem to be. I've got just bags and tubs of scraps, which I sort of just stash under my bed and hope one day that I would become a quilter or do something useful with them. That hasn't happened yet, but we'll see.
Maybe you just need to befriend a quilter and you can be like, here you go.
Yeah. I did actually. My daughter had a friend who was doing art, and one time she needed a load of fabric. I was like, yes, great, take it all, but she didn't take enough. So, it's really
hard to know what to do with fabric scraps because they're not that easy.
No, when they're funny sizes and stuff. But I'm a bit silly. I would like a tiny piece. I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep that. I'm like, no, if it's that small, just throw it away. You're not going to use it for anything. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, my bigger ones, like the Ankara fabric, I do, and I haven't got that many pieces of Ankara at the moment. But I keep them in a tub under my bed because they're just a little bit more bulky.
So Linda says, when you wash Ankara for the first time, does it shrink at all?
If it does, it's hardly noticeable. Yeah.
You've never had a garment that you made without pre-washing?
No. No. In fact, you know what? I have made, I think in the early days when I sewed, I didn't pre-wash. Either because I just didn't know to do that or I couldn't be bothered. I just got excited about a project and did it. And I've not had any mishaps with Ankara as I have had with, say, sweatshirt fabric I've had problems with. But yeah, I do tend to wash it because it just makes it a little bit softer anyway and gets rid of any sludge or chemicals or whatever. Just it feels nicer when it's been washed. But it is a bit tricky with this fabric, I think, anyway, because I mean, the last time I had like a 12 yards of that bird print. So I had to look at the pattern I wanted, cut up that yardage or whatever and put it in, because I think actually I ended up putting all 12 yards in the wash for that one, actually. So like stuffing this fabric into the washing machine and then drying it. That was interesting.
Just all over the house.
Yeah, it's just like, traipsing everywhere.
Amazing. Mel's got some scrap busting ideas, small fabric pots and bunting at the sewing project where she volunteers.
Okay. I'll tell you something I do want to do. I bought this. This is actually African wax prints. Somebody Oja, this company Oja were selling these to raise money for Palestine, and I thought, well, making bags. I used to make bags, and that's a good way of using some of the scraps as well. So I do need to perhaps do that. When I bought this, I thought, yes, but I'm just really funny because I enjoy making clothes so much. I think that's a problem. I'd like that. So then making smaller things like a nice little wash bag or a purse, but I want to make a dress.
It can become a bit of a chore to use up all the scraps, can't it? Like
it can. Yeah, and I think, be good. I think, there's that kind of pressure. But if I found somebody who loved that kind of life and wanted to make little purses or bunting or whatever, I was like, you can have my fabric. That'll make me feel better.
Well, if anyone watching has decided they want to, drop Lena a message.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And then, so with patterns, are you in the indie pattern zone now? You mostly go indie?
Mostly indie, mostly indie. I have got a few of the big 4 or 5, whatever, and I don't mind using them as much as I think I've got more confident. But with the indie patterns, but yeah, I like them. Friday Pattern Company is one of my favourites. Fibre Mood, I love. I do. What is it? What's the word? An insider for Fibre Mood, so I tend to get patterns early on, and yeah, I really enjoyed them. But my pattern, that's a little bit more out of control. My pattern stash, to be honest, that is, and that's all behind me in those. I tend to keep them, a lot of the patterns in these sort of manila folders. I'll put the patterns in there, and then if I'm working on a project, I'll keep some of it in a plastic wallet, and I work. But my patterns are crazy, so I've got them all behind me if I print them out. And then upstairs, I've got 2 long plastic tubs, which are just really great size. So just fitting in the paper packets are just the right shape and size. And I've got loads. Some that I do go through sometimes. I think, now I'm never going to make that. And I've given patterns away. And there was this pattern swap that a couple of people, I think Alice Polka Dot Palace did a few years ago. I'd love somebody to bring that back again. But yeah, I've got a lot of patterns that I do need to work through, because I think I do sort of find the things that I like now, and there's probably some patterns that I'm never going to make or never will make again, but they're sitting there.
Yeah, I feel like they're very easy to accumulate, especially like PDF.
Yeah,
You're like, oh
yeah,
yeah, it's just a file on my computer, and you get it on sale, and it's like £6. You're like, oh, I'll get it,
yeah,
or I'll get around to making it at some point, and then you're like, oh no, I don't know, I'll have to do fitting adjustments, and I'll just make this pattern I've already made 10 times.
yeah. Well, yeah, I think I get to that. So yeah, when you sort of buy a new pattern and you've not printed it out or whatever, you've not traced it, and you think, I don't want to go through all of that. Oh, here's one I've made earlier. So you just go for the patterns you've used before. And I think I've done it twice now, which was where I went to buy a pattern online that I then realized I already had, but I'd never sort of opened the file or something. I was like, oh, this isn't good. So, but at least on both times, I managed to stop myself from buying them again.
Narrowly missed. This is one of
Narrow
our
miss, yes.
selling points for Stash Hub. Like, don't buy the same
Yes.
pattern because you can check what you've got.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, because it's easily done, because you order these things and you don't print them out straight away or whatever, and they sit there, and then suddenly you think, oh, did I have that dungaree pattern or whatever?
Did I buy it, or did I think about buying it?
Yeah. And then I've had that before, when I'm so sure that I've bought a pattern, and that's only because I was thinking about it for ages, and I go and look and think, no, you didn't buy it.
You're there checking your emails, like,
Yes. Yeah.
So do you have some fabric to show us, Lena?
Yeah, so there's those ones. I'll show you a couple of fabric. So I've shown you the Ankara ones, and there's more all over the place, but I haven't really sewed much with linen. I've only sewn one thing with linen, but my next project I'm hoping to sew with linen in this really lovely green, which seems to be quite popular now. And I'm going for, again, the Donny shirt and the saguaro trousers, and making a nice set. But I want to change the shirt and actually make it into a button-up, which is a bit, I suppose, it defeats of it, because it's meant to be a nice simple shirt to make. But I quite like that collar. Is that called a Panama collar, or I can't remember the name of that collar, but I just like that as a button-up. So I've got some linen here that I want to use. That's my next project.
Nice. That's going to be really like breezy and summery, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'm thinking, I'm doing it right at the end of summer, and hoping I will get to wear it during September. But I bought that fabric back in one of the stitch festivals. Where are we now? I think maybe earlier on. No, last year I think I bought it, or early in the year, I can't remember. But I had in my mind I did want to make a matching set with that, so I'm quite looking forward to doing that. And I was looking at my stash, and I just picked up a couple of pieces I've had for a little while now that I was really excited to buy, and then they've just sat there. So I took them out. I thought, Lena, you must use this. This is a Fabric Godmother fabric. And I saw Josie, who is the business manager, head or whatever, fabric. She had the Homer and Hal's Lennox jumpsuit in this fabric. And I thought, oh, that'd be really nice. So I got some. So I want to do that. But yeah, again, time. Sorry?
Is that a viscose?
It is. And it just feels it's a viscose twill. So it's a little bit heavier. So I think that'll be really nice because I've made that jumpsuit out of chambray before, and I've made the shirt version out of African wax print. So I thought this will be a nice, more floaty one. But yeah, I love that pattern. So yeah, this is a nice. Yeah, I will get round to do it. And this fabric, which is a little bit different, I've put off making it because it is a very shifty viscose. But I think it would look beautiful as a shirt dress. It'd be really lovely as a shirt dress. I was all excited again when I got it. I think, yes, you got to do it. And then it kind of just went into the cupboard. It's been hiding there. So it was nice to have a look in that cupboard and sort of think, oh, yeah, I had good plans for these things.
Rediscover it. Yeah, there is a challenge happening next month. So that might be motivation. Oh,
sorry.
I've lost Lena. Here you go. You're back. You.
Yeah. What was the challenge?
I think it's called Shirtwaist September.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll include it in the monthly roundup for September.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the hosts is Lena.
Okay. Yep. Oh, very good. I'll keep a lookout for that. Yeah. And I've got one other piece of fabric to show, which is it's not African wax print. It's a South African fabric. And I'm not going to say the name because I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's something like shway, and I said that before. And I bought this 2 years ago, and I really wanted to make a jacket out of this. It's a little bit more stiff than African wax print, so I thought a jacket would be really, really nice. And again, it's just one that I love the look of it. It's got these lovely yellow flowers and tiny little pinkish red dots on there. And I think I'd make a nice, either I was thinking of the Deer and Doe Nennefer jacket, I think it's called. I've made that before. Or maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I do want to make a jacket out of this. So thank you. Yeah, so inviting me on here made me have a look at my stash and remember some of the nice fabrics I do want to work with soon. So yeah.
Exciting. So that South African fabric, did you get that when you were traveling?
No, again, that was at the Stitch Festival, the one at the Angel 2 years ago or so. Is it Urban Stacks, the company there? Urban Stacks, I think it's called. Yeah. So she sells. And I picked this one partly because a lot of people were saying that African wax print is just, a lot of it's too bold, too bright. But she was selling this fabric and lots of sort of blues and greens and more earthy tones for people who don't like that really sort of bright colours.
Yeah, I was going to say, even though it's a print, it's quite neutral. Like you could get away with lots of things.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think all blue's neutral all the time. I just constantly wear blue. Blue is like my wardrobe staple. So
yeah, that's interesting. So that's your colour, is it? You go for blue, and it helps you when you're piecing things together, I suppose, doesn't it? Yeah, I like blue. I like a lot. I probably like a sort of more navy blue would be my favourite blues. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, hello, Helen, joining us from Plymouth. Anyone who's watching live, do pop your questions for Lena in the chat. Yeah, always exciting to hear your different questions from what's on my usual script. So have you got any projects on the go at the moment, sewing-wise?
Sewing-wise, okay, no projects on the go. In fact, so I was on holiday a couple of weeks ago, and then my sewing machine, I took it in for servicing. So it's back now. So I want to finish. I was making something for my sister a little while ago, and it's just there with no sleeves on at the moment and no hem, not been hemmed. So I want to finish that. Then I do want to do the the green linen. I want to do that set. I'd love to do that, and then make some space to do something for the London Frocktails that's coming up, because I keep thinking I've got an idea and then I don't. I would like to make something new, but if it doesn't happen, I'm just going to find something in my wardrobe. I'm not going to get too stressed about it. So yeah, but that sets something for Frocktails, and then my dear husband has been patiently, not so patiently, waiting for me to sew him something. I've sewn him a shirt before, and I can't remember what else I've sewn him, hardly anything. But he wants a blazer, and I've been putting that off because I'm like,
Big
that's a
ask.
lot of work. That's a lot of work. But I did buy, was it? So Mimi G, was it Norris Stanford? I think he's made a lovely blazer, and it looks really good. So I've got that pattern. I've actually even got the wool and the horsehair lining. Everything's there. It's just waiting for me to. Well, I need to do a muslin first. I'm not going to do something like that off the yeah. So that's what I need to really psych myself up for. That'd probably be the most tailored project I've ever done. So, and I'm sure he will be grateful.
Yeah, he better be.
Yes.
How do you feel about sewing for other people? Because I had a big discussion with Helen about this when she was on the show.
Okay.
Are you a selfish sewer, or do you like sewing for other people?
Well, no, I love sewing for myself, and I will sew for other people. And I've got a few people that I just sew for happily. So I've got my friend who often comes with me to the stitching festivals. She does crochet. So she'll go off and look at all the wools and the yarns, and I'll do fabric. And she's made me some lovely blankets, and she's made me a vest before crocheted. So I'm happy to make her stuff. And I made a blouse recently. And I make for my daughters, not so much for my younger daughter. She's still, young teen, finding her fashion and finding her style, but I'm sure she'll come to me later. But my eldest daughter, who's always wanting something free and cheap, so I've sewn for her quite a lot, or I'll sew for me and then she'll wear it and look much better in it than me, so I let her have it. Um, yeah, and I sew for a couple of other friends, but just generally, I find sewing for people can be quite stressful. You get to know your body and you know what fits for you and you know what you want, but you start asking other people and they say, well, I like that, but I don't want that. And can you change this? And it just gets a bit too, and I just get nervous about doing it. So I tend to do mostly for family, but they have to wait in line because I think I'm a bit selfish.
I think it's much more stressful as well because you really feel like you have to do it perfectly.
Yeah. So I've sewn a couple of times for Pete. So a friend said she wanted something in African wax print, and I think it was her church was doing an international event or something, and that just felt a lot of pressure. And she was very different in shape to me, and we had lots of fittings, and I just got so nervous. And it turned out really, really lovely. It was a cashmere Upton dress, I think it was, and it looked so good on her. But it's just not something I want to put myself through a lot. The stress for sewing for others.
That's not stress for you then.
Yes, no, I did, because that's the thing, isn't it? You sew and people will say to you, you should make that into business, you should sew. I'm like, actually, that's just too stressful for me. I would do it occasionally at the one-offs, and yes, it's a bit of money, or you're just doing it for the love of your friend and family. But I don't think I want to make that my living.
Yeah. And also you'd be like, well, if you wanted to, if I made this a business, you wouldn't be able to afford any of it anyway.
Exactly. And I'll be hopeless because I just feel like, oh, I can't charge them that. It's a lot of money. And you think, well, that's what it is. It is a lot, isn't it? So I think most people think that you'll sew and it'll be a lot cheaper. And you're like, no, it's not going to be.
Yeah, it's quite scary though when you think about it. And then, just even considering how much fabric costs, you're how can companies possibly be charging like £3 for a t-shirt?
I know. It is. It really is. And then when you actually say, well, actually, this is what the fabric cost, maybe this is what the pattern cost, and never mind my time in doing stuff. Yeah, it's how do they do it? But yeah. Do you like to sew for people, or do you more sew for yourself?
I'd much rather not sew for other people.
Yeah.
So like for this wedding that I mentioned at the start, I made like a top for myself and then for the other bridesmaids. But because
Yeah.
they live like around the country, we had 0 in-person fittings. And I was like really
Oh,
stressed, like even up the day before the wedding, I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, what if nobody's tops look good and it becomes like this whole thing and everyone's got to walk around with their bouquets covering as much as possible. But yeah, it was okay in the end, but I did find it quite high stakes compared to just picking out something for myself. Because I think, you know, when you make something for yourself, you know what your sort of tolerance limits are. So you'll look at it and be like, oh, well, that seems 2 millimeters out, but if I hold it over here, no one will know. I'll just carry on. Whereas if you make it for someone else, you're like, oh, but what if they lift up the sleeve and peek into the armhole and think, what an amateur? So
Yeah.
the
It's
stakes
stressful.
feel higher, don't they? And then, like, you know, with sewing for my husband, like menswear is just like a whole different ball game, isn't
Oh,
it?
it really is. I remember the shirt I made for my husband, and I was like, this is really hard. I was sewing the seam, the inside seam, is it out there? And you've got to sew sort of on the wrong side or right side, whatever, through. It's like a channel. And it was just, anyway, my head was really aching by the time I did it. I said, actually, men's clothes can be quite tricky. That's what I like to say to him anyway, to stop him asking me to make him things.
Just be like, oh, okay, do you want a Penelope dress or a Stevie?
I know, like, yeah, you can have something like this. I can whip this up really quickly.
Yeah, I remember I was talking to Ruan and she'd made a top for like a shirt for her husband and was really proud of it. And then she was really cross and vowed never to make him anything again because he didn't appreciate it properly. Because he said the collar was too big and he felt like
See, people need to learn, if you get something made for you, just take it, appreciate it.
to just embrace the whole Elvis thing.
Yeah.
Dazzles on it as well. Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just going to say that. Yeah, I was just going to say also, my husband's, he is quite particular in what he likes as well. So if he has a shirt, it has to be pretty much a collared shirt and whatever. So it's more of a process. It's not very casual. So t-shirts and things like that, the easier stuff, I won't be able to make. But I do enjoy sewing for my eldest daughter and my sister, because again, I've sewn enough for them to understand their bodies and what looks good on them and what they like. So that's good. But just overall, I will tend to sew for myself, and if something I make doesn't fit, then I offer it to my sister or my daughters.
Well, that's quite handy as well.
It is, isn't it? Or if I don't like it, or sometimes you make something for yourself and you think, that's a really good style, and then you think, oh, actually, I don't like it that much. It doesn't look that great on me, but I think it looked good on her. So they've done well out of my sewing.
That's great. Well, it's quite hard to know what to do with your me-mades if they don't quite like work out.
Yeah.
Finish them all nicely, but then they just don't fit quite well.
Yeah.
So, okay, what am I going to do with this now? So that's good that you can give them away to someone that's going to appreciate it.
Yeah, and both the girls and my sister are very good at going through my wardrobe and taking things that they like. So
hopefully not too good, just stealing your favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I remember one time my daughter came around and needed a top for something, and I did lend her a top. I thought it was just lending, but she did look really, really good in it. And I thought, you can't do this too often, or else she'll end up with all my clothes.
Just like, no, if you want to wear that, I'm going to make myself a matching one just to embarrass you.
Yes, she probably wouldn't mind though.
Oh, that's funny. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about in the last sort of 5 minutes of the chat? Anything we haven't covered?
One of the things we haven't covered. Well, as you know, I also do some editing for Sew Over 50 as well. So that community has been really, really inspiring. And so many of the sewists there are real, they've been sewing for years, some of them. And some of the things, the details and in their sewing. It just blows my mind because I do tend to err towards more simple things, quick to sew. So it's just really wonderful seeing some people who really take the time to put lots of pin tucks or embroidery or just elevate their sewing. So I've been learning lots. I love editing for them and just seeing that community and what people are making there. That's really, really inspiring. So, but it's great. Yeah. Like they say, that you don't have to be over 50 to be following them, but it's a great community.
I love So
Yeah.
Over 50. I feel like they're such a helpful account as well. Like then they're really
Yes.
supportive of like the sewing community as a whole on Instagram. Like they'll share all the challenges and share
Yeah.
tips and feature different people. And I just find they're so interesting and also very like, I don't know, they're sort of the peak of the wholesomeness and helpfulness of the Instagram sewing community. I think they're amazing.
Yeah, they really are. And I mean, they love connecting people as well. So that's great. And just seeing so many of the community actually meeting up and doing stuff together has been really, really great. And yeah, I mean, Sandy, who's sort of doing the bulk of it now, she's just got energy and ideas and skills. And I'm like, woman, slow down. But she's just so good. So yeah, the team, the different editor teams. So I'm glad it's been able to continue. And I hope it keeps going. It's just been really great being part of that. Yeah,
it's amazing because it was their 6th anniversary the other day.
Yes. So so this weekend they're doing things leading up to it. So this weekend we've got a couple of events or posts that they'll be sharing, and I shouldn't say any more than that, but there's more things coming.
What a teaser. Everyone go follow So Over 50 if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was just like tumble out, but actually no, wait, you'll see. But it's been really good. I like the thing they did. The post for today was the top 10 patterns, which I thought was really good. But I found it was really hard for me to sort of think what my top 10 were. I think I don't repeat patterns a lot. I don't have a lot of the same one. But yeah, even now that I'm thinking, did I miss? No, I put the Lennox jumpsuit on there. But yeah, I change a lot in my sort of the style and the things I really want to wear. But there's some people I know who just like to make a certain style and they've made it loads of times. But yeah, it was interesting to see what featured in the top 10 and what didn't. But yeah.
Go and check that out, see what's on there.
Yeah. And you can add yours to the list and keep that going.
Nice. Yeah, I've definitely got a few favourites. I feel like the Danny Pants is like a solid for me. Like I've made
Which one? Sorry, I missed that.
Pants by True Bias.
Okay. Yep.
Really like those, and I think it's because it's the only trouser pattern that I put loads of work into fitting them. So I've always made those.
Now you've got to wear them. Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't nailed trousers yet. I really haven't. I want to. So that might be a project for later. I've got some denim that I'm waiting to make into a pair of jeans. I've made jeans twice before, and that's so much work, isn't it? To get so much work. So I'm sort of, again, that's something I've got to really build myself up to do. And I'd love to make another pair of dungarees, the Harlan dungarees, Merchant and Mills, I think. I'd love to do that. But all of that is just find those sort of projects really like, this is a big thing.
It's all the top stitching as well, isn't it? That's
yeah.
To see that.
Yeah, and exactly. And I like top stitching. I like the look of it, and I actually like doing it. But yes, you do have to be quite in the zone to get it right, don't you? So.
And you mentioned the London Frocktails earlier.
Yes.
Are you involved with organising that, or are you just attending?
Yes. Somebody's coming to say hello. Sorry. Naughty cat. So yes, I'm involved in that. So we've got a little team. There's 4 of us who have been booking that and checking it out, and it's all been very exciting. And now it's just the countdown and the preparation and who's getting this. There's some amazing prizes, really lovely prizes. We've got some great sponsors, but we were just saying today on our little chat, it's a shame that we can't enter in any of these competitions. There's so many nice gifts and stuff. So yeah, we were just amazed at how quickly the tickets went. It was all done in less than a couple of hours, all the tickets were sold. So it's our first time doing this, so we just hope it'll deliver. But the venue's gorgeous, and hope we're sort of building up a program. So the event's on the Friday, but there's other stuff to do in London that people can do. So we're putting a program, and maybe sort of point people to the different fabric shops, the different sort of museums and exhibitions. And it is also one of the Stitch festivals that weekend, I think the one in Ali Pali. So that'll be good as well. So we're hoping that people make a real sort of weekend of it. And we know there's already groups traveling together and booking hotels, and it should be really fun. So yeah, it'll be nice to just actually meet some of our Instagram friends.
Well, that's going to be really exciting. I can't make it to that one, but I'm really excited to see everyone's pictures and what all the outfits are. And it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, we just think it's probably long overdue, because we keep seeing all these frock tales from other cities and towns, and I think London needs one. And we'll see how it goes. If this one goes well, it might be something we do again. It might be something we do in a bigger space. This is 100, I think this one was, yeah. Because you don't really know the uptake, but yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. Well, definitely going to be following you to see what you're making for that as well when you've
when I decide. I keep seeing things about, oh, that'd be nice. I thought, no, Lena, just choose something and do it. Not got long, really. So, yeah,
it's going to come around quick.
Exactly. September will be here soon.
Mel's so cheeky. She says if anyone missed out on a Frocktails ticket, they could come to Sophisticated, which is the dressmakers afternoon tea event that Mel's helping to organise in Woking.
Sounds good.
That's in October. I think that's October 19th.
Okay, week after, whatever.
Yeah, that's on the Surrey Sews site. If anyone.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Woking.
Good.
All right. Well, I better wrap it up. Let you get on, because it's 9 o'clock now. It's gone so quickly.
It has. It's been really nice chatting with you. Thanks ever so much of it.
Yeah, it's been excellent fun, and thank you everyone for joining in the chat as well. And if you are watching on repeat, let us know what you thought of this chat with Lena in the comments. It's always so great to know that you've watched, because I can't see who's watched if you don't comment. So yeah, do comment, and I'll be back next Wednesday. I'm going to be talking to Sian from Kittenish Behaviour, so I'm sure that's going to be an amazing stash to have a peek at. So see you guys next week, and thanks so much for joining us, Lena.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.